Welcome everybody to tonight's call. We were reminiscing about how Yellen and I met, and Melissa had an amazing idea, which we will discuss further in the group this week. But I'm really excited to be here tonight and to look you guys all in the face who showed up, because when you guys show up here, you really become part of our community. And when Ayala and I share, whether it's a meal or a workout or something we're struggling with, we're sharing it because we care to be a part of this community with you. And so today's call, the topic is to keep it simple, to have weight loss be easy and obvious. And the biggest part of having weight loss be easy and obvious is to share yourself and surround yourself with like-minded people. Because when you're today, we had a coach's call before this call, and we're all sharing little things that were happening in this week, what we're struggling with, and then how it came out in our food. But when you don't have people surrounding you in your life who get that what's happening in your life is going to show up probably on your plate and is going to be impacted in your mindset, then they're going to think you're crazy and you're going to hold it all inside and you're going to overthink it. And all of a sudden, weight loss is not going to be easy and obvious. It's going to feel complicated and very heavy. So share in the group. My husband is going away for 2 weeks, 2 full weeks on Tuesday, 2 Shabbases, and I'm committing to sharing something every day of myself. Of I said to Ayala, I've been hungrier going up to this trip. I've just been a little hungrier every day. I've noticed my portion slipping a little bit bigger, and it takes talking it out sometimes or writing it out to recognize, oh, why am I getting in my own way? Because I'm a little nervous that he's going away for so long, and the impact on the kids and the impact on the house and the impact on myself, and how are we going to stay connected, et cetera, et cetera. So when you go into this week, the people who you see, as Ayala told me, she loves to end her columns, like these are the people who match your level investment.
Right.
And I want to just tell you guys how lucky you are to have the other coaches in the group besides for me. I mean, these are the people who I count myself so lucky to have in my life and be my friends, so that anytime I feel like I'm struggling, I know on a friend to friend equal level, I can call any of them up or text them and be like, my car broke down and old me would go for ice cream right now. And new me is like, where am I filling up my water bottle and where's the closest bathroom? Right. But they know that old me is still in there somewhere. So today we're going to talk about making your weight loss a lot easier and a lot more obvious. And I know we just had a meeting with Alana and she went over so many of the basics, but after the holiday, it's always worth repeating. So I'd love to go around and ask everybody to put in the chat right now, what is the most easy and obvious thing that you do that you know delivers weight loss results?
Okay, while everyone's doing that, just whoever doesn't have their camera on, if you can, I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds. Let's just take a picture so we have a picture of all of us together. And so everybody is ready. Okay, so you see it so nobody looks like they're making a funny face. Okay, 5, everybody turn on videos if you can. Turn on your camera if you can. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay. Hope you guys all got that, because I'm not checking each and every one of you and giving you a second chance.
Okay, so let's see what people put in so far. So far people put in when they are veggies most. Sarah says she knows she's having a weight loss day. Pasha said consistent breakfast. When she's eating that consistent breakfast, she knows she's having a weight loss day. Jen says it's less about what she eats and more if she's willing to track it, she's going to have a weight loss day. I just want to grab my notes so I remember everything I want to cover today. I have them written out right here. Okay. Who else? Veggie soup for dinner. I just made 2 different soups because my kids were annoying today. And I said, hey, it's a rainy day. Why not? And we made 2 different soups. So we're going to be having a lot of soup for dinner tonight. Excellent. When you go to the bathroom.
But you know what? just with the question with the bathroom, like I always love that one. Have you figured out what in your day equals having consistent like bath? So that part's huge. That part's
Yeah.
huge. Fine.
And for those of us with IBS, it's almost always stress related. So you might go a few days without, and we do the best that we can to hold our mindset in place while we work out our issues. And somebody said the belief every day, just repeating to herself, Shayna said, that you can do this. Are you keeping the goals at the forefront of your mind? Am I making decisions to be a healthier me, or am I making the decision that's most convenient or just like right in front of me? So I think that's really powerful tips of what makes weight loss really easy and obvious. So now everybody who answered, take a second sitting down to meals. So good. What is the thing, the one biggest challenge you have that stops you from doing that one thing that you know gives you an easy weight loss day? What gets in the way? If there's one thing that you know, if I just focus on this one thing, I'm having a weight loss day, and you figured out what that is, what gets in the way? Lack of sleep. What else?
Shayna said
Overeating on Shabbos.
being far from your goals. Shayna said, right? Meaning Shayna had said that
Belief,
the mindset
right.
part, do I believe I can do this? What counteracts that is them being so far from your goal. That definitely can sometimes feel like a pull.
Absolutely.
You know?
And Sarah said that she was veggies most always works for her. So she said when she's not prepped enough, then the veggies most doesn't happen.
Oh,
Anybody else?
And Elena said waiting too long to eat dinner. On that note, I want to point out somebody had said something to me recently. Sometimes you're like, oh, maybe not so hungry in the morning for breakfast. Then let's say you go work out, or I've been hearing a lot of like, oh, swimming. And then all of a sudden I was rabid. Swimming is just physiologically a form of exercise where you are going to feel hungrier. Your body goes into hypothermia. It is a normal thing. You are actually hungrier or feel like you're hungrier post swimming. So the best advice I can give, if you start off your day, but then you push off eating, right? Sometimes you then feel the rest of the day, you can never even like catch up enough. And even if your lunch was in a normal size, you're hungrier, you're this or whatever. The best piece of advice I can give with that is I will tell somebody, especially if you're going swimming or if you're doing some form of fitness outside of the house in the morning and you haven't had anything to eat, is have something with you for when you're done. For the car ride.
So I was going to say, whenever I swim or I go on a very long walk, like 10K, not 5K, I bring the Beachbody Recover in 40 ounces of water because I need the extra water for the long workout. But if I swim for an hour, I take a scoop of the chocolate Recover, which you could do as any good quality protein powder, 20 grams of protein powder in water. And you want to pick one that doesn't need a blender, like Recover or whatever you would choose. And that is life-saving. And you can count it as part of your breakfast, or you cannot. Try Track and see. So I want to keep seeing what other obstacles people were having. Too many accessories. And that kind of went with overeating Shabbat because Shabbat tends to be more accessorized than during the week. Sleep, lack of food prep. Interesting, Pesha, how that relates to consistent breakfast. Is it like you don't have the ingredients in the house, or you're just so tired you're not in the mood to have what you know you like to have for breakfast? If I make unhelpful decisions, feeling shame and guilt immediately, and then like getting stuck in those bad decisions, it's very hard to get out. And then habitual snacking. Okay. So this week in our posts, I finished organizing the post for this week. So I'm ahead of the game. And one of the things that we're going to talk about very soon in the first few days, we're going to talk about community, like we started off the call with. And then we're going to talk about releasing versus strengthening. And it's really important that we strengthen the person we're becoming. Like you said, that person who eats that consistent breakfast. I am the person who has a weight loss day. I get the consistent breakfast. I start my day with my belief that I can lose weight. I know every Shabbos I'm going to have as many unaccessorized vegetables on the table as I have over-accessorized vegetables on the table. That's huge for me, by the way. A plain veggie platter on the table in between the accessorized sexy salads can make all the difference on my plate. If I have the plain raw vegetables also on my plate and sexy salads, it just can really help with that, like it's not having those be a weight gain issue on Shabbat. In terms of consistent breakfast, if sleep and waking up is an issue, I'm going to be the person who preps the ingredients for my breakfast the night before, so that it doesn't become a food prep issue. I'm going to become the ninja of reheating frozen vegetables if food prep is an issue. Or I know my go-to at every Makolet and grocery store in a 5-mile radius. What do you need to strengthen for that one habit that equals a weight loss day for you, to just make it easier on yourself, to make it more obvious that, hey, I know I'm having a weight loss day today. And then how do we release? How do we release parts that aren't really our true self? Nobody has in their DNA to gain weight and be less healthy. We have some habits, we have some baggage, we have some old things that are somewhere on top of who we are as authentic people. So what are we willing to unpack? What are we willing to release? What are we willing to shed? What are we willing to donate and give away? Call a limousine and send it off in style. But whatever imagery you relate to, what are we going to release? Whether it's a story that prep is complicated, or that once I haven't had a good night's sleep, there's really no coming back from that until I get a good night's sleep, right? Or once I've had a day with a weight gain, gosh, I just don't believe I can do it. And it's, what are we willing to release? What old pattern? And I shared with the coaches that I had an old pattern that nuts are my comfort food. And I'm going to release, I'm sharing with you guys, they are going to be in my house because my kids need them right now, according to their nutritionist, for what they're going through. So they have to be in my house. I can't put them out, but they're going to be in my house. And I'm committing to releasing that being my comfort food. And I'm going to make soup my new comfort food. Expect to see much, much soup in the next 2 weeks because it is going to become my comfort food, like my tea is my comfort drink.
I think that's a good answer also for people that struggle with snacking, also on the same thing, when we're so used to, like we discuss so often, is it habit or hunger? Is it habit or hunger? And what are you willing to say? Are you looking to put in the effort? And what are you looking to, that you can act, like you said, release the idea that I can't get through a day without a snack, or release the idea that a snack has to equal something that's not on your plan. So I think that's a great idea. Like if you have a soup, then you can say, if I get snacky, or if I want a snack, that's a wonderful idea. Like you said, you're replacing nuts with soup. You have a soup. You can say, if I want a snack, I'm committing this week that it'll be a bowl of soup. And it can just be like, I like having like putting it in a mug, because then it's not like a huge bowl and a meal in and of itself, let's say. So I think that's a great.
Absolutely. And it's just like releasing that, like, this is what the definition of snack is. So for me, if my comfort food snack is raw, unsalted nuts, right? Very healthy. I know those equal a weight gain. No way around it. They always do for me. Okay. They're super healthy. Yes, but they are not healthy for weight loss. And they're not even healthy for weight maintenance, not in a salad. In a bowl, they are healthy weight gain all the way. And so I'm going to release this in my head vision of my comfort healthy food is nuts, and I'm going to make it soup. But that takes, guys, an intentionality. I like to think of it as a detour. As somebody who is a recovering control freak, I always like to think of control as driving the car. I want to be driving the car. I want to be driving the car. Well, some of the work I've had to do over myself over keeping this weight off was recognizing, wait, did I say nuts are great for me in a salad? Yes, they are chopped in a salad. It is a weight loss. If they are in a bowl, they are a weight gain. If they are in a bowl with chocolate chips, I'm probably going back for seconds and they are for sure weight gain. And that's my body, just nuts. I
Right.
pack on
But
healthy weight.
listen, there's a difference between putting a few nuts in a salad and that's a normal accessory as opposed to having an entire bowl of nuts that are
No, even if it's a small bowl, I mean, like,
Yeah.
guys, that's still multiple servings
Yeah, I
of
think
nuts.
I misheard. I was
Yeah. Okay, multiple servings
no,
of
I
nuts.
thought
Like
you were
it's a
saying
cup.
they're not good for weight loss if you're putting them in the middle.
No, I said in a
Yeah.
salad.
Yeah.
They're weight
I
loss.
just misheard. That's all.
Yeah, in a cup, they are
Okay.
wicked.
Okay.
Okay, no way around it. So, what I want you guys to think about is the way I do it is I realize that I'm not driving the car. I'm actually the passenger. God is driving the car. I am the passenger, but I control the ways. So I get to decide, are we going to go the really complicated route with lots of traffic? Or are we going to take the direct route? But I'm not driving. So I can relax. I can enjoy the scenery. I can also check in and, hey, would I like to take a detour? So I'm going to choose to take a detour around the nuts. Ideally, I might like to get them out of my house. That's not an option right now. So instead, I'm going to find a detour. And anytime I need to find a detour, I try to come up with 3 options so that you're never all or nothing. 3 creative possibilities. So 1 is I could have a soup. Number 2 was that I could make like a snack box of extra cut veggies. And anytime I wanted nuts, I would go for the cut veggies. And number 3 would be that anytime I wanted nuts, I would leave the house and go here to my covered happy pergola space and like take 10 deep breaths because it just means I'm not okay. Now I have 3 options. I decided that soup was the one I could see myself always doing at my worst. And now I have 2 other backup options. If I'm like, well, I'm not actually hungry, I can come upstairs. If all of a sudden the heat is on in the house and I'm super not in the mood for a soup in that moment, I can grab a cut vegetable. But anytime you have, clearly what your obstacle is, try to find 3 options, right? When you go into Waze and it says routes, it never gives you 1 option. It says here, choose. You're not trapped. You're not trapped in the obstacle that you're facing. You can always choose to have a weight loss day today. You can choose to have one tomorrow. I want to take a second and address the person who said the guilt and the shame. So today I got stuck in my nuts a little bit, and the old me, and I've shared this many times, if you're new to the group, then you just haven't seen it because you didn't see my story of I've been in the Thrive community for 6 years. Okay. So like we lost the weight in the first 2 years, but it's been 4 years of learning how to keep it off forever. So in that time, there's been much shame and much guilt shared. The reason I don't feel shame and guilt anymore is that I have written it out so many times that I am confident that I can find a solution. And that if I share it, I also know I'm not going to be alone. So sharing your transformation story on Thursday this week, I'm going to do a post asking you to share a being and becoming. We're never at the end of our journey. We're always becoming the most authentic version of ourselves, and we're getting to know her along the way. So I'm going to ask you guys to share something that you've become through the journey so far. And don't worry, there'll be more amazing things to share, but look for that on Thursday. And one of those is whatever you're feeling shame or guilt about, reach out to your coach in the Facebook group. Reach out to somebody else and say, hey, I promise you, you're not the first person to eat that thing. You are definitely not the first person to go back for thirds. And you are definitely not the first person who has felt guilty about it. In this room, in this Zoom room, you're not the first person, let alone in our group of amazing and inspiring Jewish women. So I'd like to open up the floor now. Oh, and because I told you my comfort food is going to be soup, there's the recipe, my template for making all of the absolute best pureed vegetable soups ever is Friday, 6 a.m. look for that. Okay, let's open up the floor and let's hear what you guys need or want. Questions about making your weight loss this week easier, more obvious, more assured, where you feel confident. Ayala, you want to get started and help me look around and see who's raising their hand, who has
Yeah.
something to share?
Well, so far, nobody's raising their hand, but guys, I want you to think about it. Like, really, like, be honest. I think you always know that Lily and I are really always open and honest. I can tell you, like, I had written sleep. Like, I know I've really been struggling, and whether it's a medical issue or a medicinal issue or anything. So I can tell you something that I figured out. Like, I was so stuck on, and I'm not getting enough sleep, and I'm not getting enough sleep. Then I realized something. Even amongst all my not good sleeping, somehow Friday night, I do sleep better. And I know we all know the idea of phones and screens, but the aha moment for me with the fact that, like, Yom Kippur night, I still slept better, even though I was still on the same medication, or this Friday night, I slept better, was that I realized by the time Shabbos comes in and my phone goes off until I go to sleep, it's like 5 hours not having looked at a screen. And it freaking makes a difference. So am I gonna turn off my phone on a regular night that much earlier? No, but it just became so clear how sensitive I am to it. And I need to have not just 10 minutes before I go to sleep at night. Like, I need to put myself in a situation and be honest with myself that if sleep really makes everything else harder the next day, then that is something that I need.
That you want to strengthen and release.
Yeah, I gotta release the fact that, like, oh yeah, and if I wake up in the middle of the night, it's really okay if I look at my phone. Like, I don't have that option on Friday night, and I don't look at my phone then if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I eventually fall back asleep. So for me, that was like a big, like what you said, putting in the, effort and whatever, and releasing the idea that, like, oh no, that can't really be, kind of thing. Okay, Sorrel has her hand raised.
Please go for it.
So it's like a mindset question, because I've really gotten used to dinner and done for me being early. I like it. I like the way I feel. I feel lighter, and it, definitely helps with weight loss. Tomorrow night is like my daughter's tech for the army. There's no way of avoiding it. Like, we're gonna go out. We're gonna be on the road from like 4:30 onwards, and then like we're gonna go out for dinner afterwards locally. And I'm not really stressed about gaining weight in as much as, like, I want to be able to have a good time, but my mindset now is like so dinner and done early. Like, I just don't want to be stressed about it.
So what I would recommend is eating the bulk, like eating in the car, veggies and like a lighter protein, maybe half a yogurt or something like that. And then when you go out to eat, having a tasting menu. My rule always for myself is, and it has stopped, like Ayala calls me like the date night ninja of restaurants, that I can even eat out at 9 p.m. now. And I know I won't gain weight if all the food goes in the center of the table. All food is a serving platter, and they give you a smaller sized plate to taste from and to have fun and to take tastes of what's there and focus on having the best time and being in a celebratory zone. And early can vary for dinner and done. By the way, Lana Malstein said sometimes she's dinner and done at 4:30 with her kids. And for me, dinner and done early is like 6:37 with my age kids.
Can I give another like perspective on that? Because I think sometimes we need also, like you say, like all in different.
Sure.
Options. And I was speaking to a few people on my, that I coach on Friday, like just, I was in the mood to do like a pre-tracking kind of thing. So a few of us got on Zoom, and Melissa, I'm going to bring this up because it came up in conversation. We were discussing now with Shabbos, right? The whole idea of, are you eating dinner when Shabbos is out or before Shabbos is out? And is it late and Shabbos coming out if you want dinner after, if you're in the mood for something hot? I mean, now Shabbos is starting to get earlier, but let's say Shabbos is out later than when Rimon, just go on, Lily.
What?
Yeah, I'm trying to see her. I'm trying to find her here.
Like, if you're used to an earlier dinner, but you're having dinner, but you're in the mood for something hot. And so you're going to have dinner Motzei Shabbos after. So one thing that I realized over time is I really truly believe that everybody here has at some point had a dinner after 6 p.m., after 7 p.m., and has had the next day either a maintenance or even a weight loss. And what I'd like to propose is it's not specifically about the dinner. Sometimes it's so easy to blame, right, the late dinner. Like somebody might be like, say, well, I had a hot late dinner after Shabbos, and so that's why I gained weight. Really? Well, did you also have 2 pieces of challah at lunch and a healthy dessert, and you didn't move around as much that day, and you didn't drink? Like, don't be so quick to blame a healthy dinner at 7:30. Like, think about the whole day collectively. If you want, you know how to go out to a restaurant. Sorrel, you've been to a restaurant and had a weight loss day. So it's not necessarily about the eating out. You know, you do need to think about, like Lily said, if you'll physically feel better, you like the idea of packing up vegetables or a yogurt or something and eating in the car, and then just tasting and enjoying the time with your daughter after her tekes and all that kind of stuff, and everybody all together. Okay. If part of the enhancing the moment is actually ordering one full, thing, like I think we saw, like in our group, like Sarah Belfer was going out to dinner tonight for her husband's birthday. There was a Caesar salad on the menu. It was vegetables and chicken breast. Eating vegetables and chicken breast, I mean, Sorrel, whatever, you'll decide if you want chicken or not. Have it with hard-boiled eggs, whatever you want. Like, again, you have to sometimes put something in. Yes, I understand that, like almost that fear, that anxiety that you're like, I'm so used to. But as you're getting closer to your goal weight and to maintenance, you're gonna see that there are choices you can make, and our goal is to not be afraid. Like, in a way, it almost sounds silly. What, I'm afraid of having a salad with chicken? Or really, in perspective, is that what you're afraid of? Or what is the anxiety producing things is that the last time we went out as a family, the table was full of French fries. Like, really try to be aware what it is about the eating out that you're actually worried about.
Love it.
A different
So
perspective.
amazing.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
So amazing. And I agree with everything she said. And it's about it's really looking at what do you want to get out of it, and then going from there. If you want to eat a full dinner, I think you got to go with Ayelet's perspective. Hendy, you had your hand raised.
Hendy, you're getting, I mean, I don't know if Hendy's gonna come on video. Hendy had written that she rarely gets to dinner before 8 o'clock and she's lost weight.
Yeah.
Again, everybody's, days and, things are different. I think it's a matter of sometimes really a complete honesty. Like when we had spoken about Shabbos, sometimes we go straight to the, oh my God, it's because, like I said, oh, it's because I ate late, or I drank too much water, or sometimes we just grab onto something and we're a little bit honest with ourselves, like, no, it really must have been something else in the day. Now, it's possible you're going to be out of the house all day, Sorrel. So, figure out the water thing, because you're going to be on base, although Ir Habadim is one of the nicer places. So I think you should be okay. But again, I've never been there personally, but my daughter's there. So if you see her, so again, there's going to be so many other things as part of the day. I wouldn't necessarily just grab onto, about, necessarily the late, the late
So
dinner.
who else wants some coaching and wants to bring something else up on any topic about that's going to help you? Melissa, go for it.
So I'll just circle back about my previous week and just a couple little things that I learned. So
Please.
Last week before Chag, I had an incident. I called it the freezer burn catastrophe incident, where I was cleaning out my freezer. And on Chag, I was really great. I had 2 weight loss Chags in a row between Rosh Hashanah and first days. And then I was cleaning out my freezer and I saw this container of blondies that I hadn't had on Labor Day when there was a barbecue, and there was a crack on top. And I said, okay, let me bring that upstairs to throw out. As I said that, I knew in the back of my head, that's my excuse to bring it upstairs and look at it and open it. Cause of course, I wanted to look at it. I wanted to taste it. It looks delicious. So I took a bite. First one was okay. And then I tasted another one and it was freezer burned. And I just kept taking little pieces. And I put aside a piece for my daughter, and then I said, no, I'm not going to give this to her. It's freezer burned. It's not so good. And then that thought made me feel really overwhelmed and like shameful, because I spoke to Ayala about it, and she said, who was there? Like, no one was there. I was by myself in the freezer in the basement. I felt shameful. I didn't have like that treat mentality. If I was going to feed it to my daughter, then why am I feeding it to myself? Like, I felt like it kind of defined my worth. So in that moment, that was like the catalyst to have me then spiral down and make multiple decisions that felt like a burial, right? So from there, then before Chag, I had a fight with my husband, and then I went into Chag just like in a bad mindset, and I just ended up eating, not plated, no walks, no water, like the thing. But so in the end, I had to pull myself out of it. And I think that is one of my bigger struggles, is being able to like pull myself out of feeling that shame and that overwhelm that first time, and not letting it cause me to spiral, because I felt like I was looking up and there's just all these bad choices I made on top of me. And I sent a message to the group, kind of how I was thinking about it in terms of like tug of war, how like you like, for me, I need the good decisions to outweigh the bad decisions so that it could be pulled this way. But at that point, I felt like the bad decisions were overwhelming. And so it was hard to kind of create that balance and get me back in the zone. But thank God, once Chag was over, I did pull it together. I did have that shift, and I really focused. And Shabbos, I made really good decisions, and I did have a weight loss Shabbos. So I know that like now going forward, I'm set up for success. But I just want to be able to figure out, I guess, I don't know if you have any different advice for next time, if that were to happen. Hopefully it won't. But if that were to happen, of having that one situation that just triggers you of like, oh, why am I eating this, freezer burnt blondie? And why is, like, after all the hard work I've done to change my mindset, and what happens in this moment, I have ABC. Like, I think part of the struggle for me is making a plan and not following through, and then feeling like, what was the point of all that hard work? You know what I mean? Yes. So I don't know. I just figured maybe I'd ask just to see if other people have good ideas.
I'd love to jump into that. And it comes down to, in my experience. Okay, is there anything else you wanted to add to that before I answer?
No.
Yeah.
No, please go ahead. I'm just eating my lunch here, so.
Okay, so I was hearing you say that it's a lot of in that moment, the shame is coming up, and how you react in that moment says a lot about what the next 24 to 72 plus hours are going to be like, because you have a very set pattern of what you're going to do.
Okay. Melissa, she's looking for you to confirm if she heard right.
Yes.
I was muted.
No, her screen froze for me, so I didn't want to keep talking. Her screen was frozen. Okay, good. So,
no, I was nodding. I didn't want him to be disruptive.
Okay, so one of the things that I found, like imagery wise, if you're someone who's into imagery, because you said like Tupperware and you were picturing in your mind, is when I had that nut episode, to look at it like, how old's your daughter?
4.
How old? 4. So like, that time where like she stubs her own toe on the wall, and she is so mad and so frustrated and in so much pain all at once. And there's no one to blame, but you're like, bad wall, here, come, let me give you a hug. When we act out, it's like stubbing our own toe. That's all. But it really hurts. I mean, who's had a really, really bad stub toe? And if you've ever hurt yourself, like you're cutting and you like cut your finger.
I broke my pinky toe in the summer.
Right? Or you slam your hand in the trunk. Who isn't like, I am so like, right?
I peeled my finger off right on top of my knuckle, Erev Shabbos, literally with the peeler.
And there's this concept in mindfulness or in meditation, and it's a Jewish concept in the Kabbalah, and it's also stolen but to the Buddhists, and the Buddhists take it, and it's called the second arrow. And it's like, sometimes life sucks and you stub your toe, or you eat something, or you're curious and you get in a bad place for a second, And it's like you're being shot with an arrow, right? You just woke up and it was just a really bad night's sleep. Your husband's going on a business trip for 2 weeks, whatever it is. Something is happening and there's an arrow of pain. Then we go and we shoot ourselves with guilt and shame. And it's just like shooting yourself with a second arrow. It doesn't make the first arrow hurt any less. And there are so many times when I use this across the board. I use it with food. I use it with parenting. I use it in communication with my spouse. I use it with clients. Sometimes anything, like you could just say something. You're like, oh, that didn't come out exactly how I meant it. Stub my toe, right? And you're like, okay, it's okay, hun. Like, I know it hurts. I know you did something stupid. Like you said that thing to your friend or to your daughter, or you ate that thing that you know so much better. Like, that wasn't respectful of yourself to eat that Blondie that was freezer burn. But like, we all sometimes like are just not paying enough attention and rushing and stuck in our own head, and we make poor decisions. And like when we accept the universality of that, it's a lot easier to see it across the board. And when we see it across the board, it takes it a little bit out of their relationship with food, where we feel so triggered and vulnerable. And like, to me, helps to make it more easy to cope with. What do you think?
I love that. No, I love that. And I like to, compare it also to like, if you have a flat tire, you don't go and select other 3. Like it's the same kind of concept. I love that idea. I just wonder, as I'm actually living it, if I'm going to pull that out. And I hope that doesn't happen again. I really hope it doesn't, because it didn't feel good in any sense of the way. And honestly, thank God for Hog finishing.
Right.
It's gonna happen again.
It's gonna happen
Right.
again. The goal, like we've always said, is you have to even start appreciating that it's happening fewer and farther between. Or each time that spiral might get less amount of time, not 72 hours, not 48 hours, not 36, then 24, then 12, and then already by the next meal, or then you can stop in the middle. I think sometimes, we've always said before, coaching yourself in the moment, that's advanced coaching. Like, that's really,
Yes.
the ways that you get to that are by working through the scenarios when you're not in the moment. It's times like
Exactly.
this, on this call, envisioning it, seeing it happening, and deciding now what you're going to do. It's one of the reasons why, I don't know if who here, raise your hand if you read the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. 5-second
Great
rule.
book. Great book.
5-second rule. That is so few hands up. I guess it's just those of us that have been doing this for a long
Yeah.
time. Okay, 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. It was her first book before she wrote the High Five Habit. Okay, it's another tool. Like, sometimes, whether you want to be doing something or stopping yourself from doing something, just sometimes you gotta break that brain pattern. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Shut the door, shut the freezer, without thinking about it, without letting your brain starting to work. Go get it. Get the book. It's easy. It's one of her books that I know, as my husband always likes to put it, that could have been a pamphlet. Yes, it could have been a pamphlet, Mel Robbins, but she gives a lot of examples. I like reading.
The audiobook is really great too.
Right.
She has a great reading voice. Like,
Yeah.
you get her personality, and she has big personality.
So-
But
so, yeah,
literally,
so-
envision
so
stubbing your toe.
sometimes it's coaching yourself through it, but it's hard in the moment. So sometimes you also need just certain tools to get yourself out of it, but to keep on working through these things when you're not in the heat of the moment. I think that part is.
And don't fantasize that it won't happen again. It's not going to serve you. It's only going to make you
you'll just
surprised.
feel more like a failure. Wait, Jen, I don't know how much time we have left, but Jen Toplin had her hands up. And
Please
then
go, Jen.
Thank you. Thank you both.
I posted in the group that I'm coming to Israel in like less than 2 weeks. Yes, my son's Tekes Kumta, the Masa Kumta. I don't know the words.
yeah.
Anyway, so I am, of course, nervous, worried. Like, I yell at nose, I get all like anxious. First of all, the flights. Okay, so the flight I'm leaving here, I think it's like a 6 o'clock something at night flight. So I have the plan already. Like, my husband's like, you're gonna have to put the salad dressing on the salad before. I'm like, that's really not a problem. So like, what should I have for breakfast, like with me for when I get off the plane? And then just also, I'm either going to be staying by other people or I'm going to be staying in Yerushalayim in an apartment. I'm just worried about the food. I'm worried about how to handle it. And also like, obviously I'll have my water bottle with me, but filling up on it, just, I don't know, just worried about traveling.
Watch everything Alana did for 2 weeks.
I know, but
Yeah.
she didn't really share out like what she did. It's so, by the way, it's so adorable. Sorrel knows this. My daughter said, "Can we go to Tel Aviv and get the cauliflower?" Like she did.
You're coming to Israel, the land of like the best vegetables. Okay. I'm telling you, you had to see Alana fall in love with cherry tomatoes after being someone who loved cherry tomatoes. Like so you're not going to get a lot of things. You're not going to find sugar snap peas here. I'm just telling you that. But I think again, like even like Lily was saying, so much like just first, don't go in already being anxious, like planning for failure. Like it's gonna be regular days. You already said you know how to have dinner. I know, forget weight loss, not weight loss. Airplane food is made different. My rule is no eating airplane food. My husband, who's not losing weight, doesn't eat airplane food.
No, I don't. I have no plan. Like that is not even in the plan. Like, but like, what should I bring with me for breakfast? Like, so when I get off the plane, I'll have something. Do you have a suggestion for that?
So before I was vegan, so it was easier. And Lily and I, Lily, remember how much we had the pizza when we went to Summit a few years ago?
Yes, that was so fun. We need to do a girls trip out of the country again.
Pizza, like a spelt or whatever pizza with peanut butter and 2 hard-boiled eggs. None of that's being taken away from you. It'll stay on the plane just fine. You want to have that for breakfast after you've slept.
We did the Justin's almond butter packets.
Justin's almond butter easy. Exactly, with the pizza. And
no, remember it was the sprouted English muffins.
Right, we used the Ezekiel sprouted English muffin with the PP2.
Oh, I miss those.
A vacuum pack of tuna. That's what we
I
did.
love those.
A vacuum pack of tuna.
That's what we ate. Yes.
Okay,
and remember they took our yogurts away. We brought Greek yogurts and they took them away.
It's so funny. That's actually what I want. That's what I wanted to take.
Too much.
That's what I wanted to take was Greek yogurt, but I had
a vacuum pack of tuna. Meaning like,
yeah, we took those.
Plane. Also, like walk as much as you can on the plane, drink water, and still remember your nighttime block. If you're flying at 6 o'clock in the evening, you know how long you can go. We all have a thing in our head. I don't know what kind of human nature or what kind of association. We like, you get in a car for a long drive, you get on a plane, you're with your kids, somehow travel means eat. And all of a sudden we're eating more often and we're hungrier more often than if we weren't moving, you know? And even if
I think it's the sense of control. It gives you a sense of control when travel. There's a lot of waiting and a lot of things not in control. And when you recognize that, you can have your comfort food. Like my comfort food when I travel is coffee, getting coffee, even if it's decaf in as many places as possible, because I know that I can always get a coffee and 2% milk or whatever. So it's like that swap. It's saying, okay, this is my problem. You come up with 3 breakfast options that you can have when you get off the plane. Then you choose one that feels like the most convenient and easy and obvious one. But it's like, take the problem and then say, I could probably find 3 options. Once you have 3, you'll know what to do next. Guys, we are almost done.
Asked just about that.
Please go for it.
Can I just give a quick suggestion? So I don't know what you think about this, but the protein bagel recipe uses equal ratio of whole wheat flour and Greek yogurt and baking powder and salt, and then you just make it into a bagel. I don't know if you've ever had them before, but that technically, I don't know if that could be considered like a full breakfast.
No, that's a carb. That's not a protein. It's a quarter of a thing of the protein there is minimal. It's a carb. It's an FFC. Those protein that it uses protein yogurt, but that is an FFC portion, not a protein. Have that with tuna. Have that with eggs. That's an FFC.
Yeah,
right.
But good idea in terms of if you didn't want to buy the Ezekiel English muffins, which are so delicious and such a treat, which we don't get here.
Yeah.
I remember we used to bring in Ezekiel bread when our
You
husbands
can
would travel.
freeze it and bring it sometimes, I know, and then like savor it.
Oh,
Do you want to
so
read
good.
what Sabrina wrote? Because I think that's important when we were speaking about using something.
I'm happy to bring
Absolutely.
it. I'm happy to bring you some Ezekiel bread.
Oh, don't tempt me. Cinnamon raisin is my favorite.
Yeah.
Baby.
Raisin muffins.
Baby is sleeping on me. So sharing here, I used to let the lack of sleep as an excuse for why I can't be proactive about meal planning or eating normal meals. Recently, I realized that, yeah, lack of sleep does make a difference in my mindset, but it's because I'm letting it. So now I still get up, work out, eat my healthy breakfast, buy a huge salad for lunch if I don't have time or energy to make one. And that really keeps me consistent. Lunch seems to be the key to my consistency. If my lunch is not good and satisfying and healthy, then the rest of the day is me grazing on food I just don't need. So as long as I keep my healthy breakfast and lunch, my day is good, even if I haven't slept in 2 weeks. And I think that's fantastic. Single serving
I think
packets of
that's
protein
great.
powder mixed with water. Yes.
I think
And,
that's
if
I
you-
feel like when you know you have, like, we talk about consistent breakfast, you can do that with all meals. Like, my lunch may not be the same every day, but I consistently have a salad for lunch. It's made up of different things. But like, again, like Sabrina said, like when I know I'm having a lunch that's filling and satisfying and healthy and good, then that keeps you along the mindset. I do want to acknowledge one thing is Shayna still on the call? I don't know if Shayna's still
No,
on the
she
call.
left. She left.
Oh, because I want to bring this up though, still, like she spoke about like mindset or belief in yourself. And I realized something, recently, like I know you want to make decisions, like Lily started off when she was talking here, like what can make this easier? What can make it feel easier? That being said, I think simultaneously you have to acknowledge that change and a healthy lifestyle, as much as we want it to just be easy, we're up against a lot in this world that we live in. It's not necessarily easy and things will take effort, but it doesn't have to mean that it's complicated. Okay, so when Lily is saying what will make it easier, she's not saying, don't mistake that, oh my God, living this lifestyle is all of a sudden supposed to be, easy. But when you put in the effort and you make the decisions, like it becomes such a good choice, but it still is something you need to choose. Like, and I really thought about it recently with all the chagim and everything, like I need to choose every day that I believe in God, and I need to choose, like I have to make the choice. It's still getting up in the morning and making the choice that this is the life you want to lead. Once you make that choice first thing in the morning, like when you get up in the morning and you write down on that, current mindset in the morning in your tracker, and you are, determined to make the choices. You are determined, like Alana said in the last office hours with Andrea, like make it matter. I want to feel good today. Your choices will follow. It doesn't mean that it's just like, oh, let life happen to me. This is going to be easy. No, like Lily said,
That's where the work is, to strengthen and release. Because if
Right.
it's not feeling easy, then you didn't make the choice yet. You didn't do the inner work that shows up on the outside. The
Yeah.
inner work is, hey, this isn't feeling easy. I'm not driving this car, but I control my direction and I can choose another route, a route that feels more in line with who I am. And sometimes that's somebody who just stubbed her toe and it hurts. And maybe you're not going to run that marathon because you just stubbed your toe today. But maybe you're going to research the marathon route that day. You're going to look for some new recipes. You might not make a new recipe that day, but you're going to research a new recipe. Maybe you're not going to track everything you eat that day, but you're going to take pictures because you just don't have the energy to track today, but you're going to take pictures. And you're going to do something because you decided that this isn't optional. Guys, like you get up and you breathe every day. And when you're not breathing well, you notice. The scale is there to give you that kind of self-awareness about your weight. You don't tolerate, I hope, not breathing well for a week and not go to see a doctor and not do something about it. If your weight is escalating, don't tolerate it. Reach out to your coach, reach out to your group. and be like, oh, something's wrong here. And if you're feeling amazing and your breathing is clear and you're just on top of the world and you're losing weight, don't hold it in either. Sing it from the rooftops in the group and let us all celebrate with you. Because when one person's breathing easy, it makes everybody else want to join her and breathe easy too. And it also proves to everybody that it's possible to heal and that it's possible to make progress and that it's possible to make a commitment to the community that you're in this to be still on these calls 6 years later, you know, keeping your weight off. Or as I yell it, like also like, we're here. Michal's going to be here. We're not going anywhere. So we're going to be here 6 years from now, still hot and sexy and turning into the next decade, right? Like we're going to still be here. And we hope all of you guys are going to still be here too. So just get comfortable in the community because we're going to be your people. Any last words, Ayala, as we sign everybody
Yeah,
off?
I think that's just a great way to end it and to kind of like, you know, put it all together. I feel like the theme in terms of what you were saying, I think what we were looking to give over today in terms of, you know, the mindset and getting into things is take a proactive role. It's you, it's your choices. Take a proactive role in your life and making the choices, and you will feel better for it. And I think that's really what Lily, you know, is getting across with, you know, putting in the, what you're putting in the effort into, and then what are, you know, therefore also what are you releasing? You know, I really think that's, you know, just great stuff to keep, you know, keep in mind.
And pay attention to the posts this week and engage in the community. They're going to be based on all the topics we talked about in the call today. Thursday, share something that you're becoming. When we ask what you're strengthening and what you're releasing, answer. These are your people.
Put it in all week. Just put it in all week.
week.
I would also like to put out that Daria's curls in her hair happen to look absolutely amazing today.
They actually really do. And Daria had a work call. She wasn't even sure she could make it. So I'm super happy to see her beautiful face here. She had to make effort to come.
Right.
And for everybody who was not able to turn their video on, I get it. I know, but we love to see you because we want you. So when you can, turn your video on, and we're going to sign off now. Recording will be up tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Good night, guys.